If you think of life as something that moves towards greater complexity and greater organization as a kind of antidote to entropy in the universe, then I think that technology is an extension of that. It's a scaffolding of that. It's part of that move. Kevin Kelly, most notably, has coined the term the technium in his book, What Technology Wants. And he describes the technium as the seventh kingdom of life. That it's a living, breathing thing. It's almost like technology has wants and needs, just like biology does. So it is an organism. It is an extension of us. It is an extension of extropy. And so I think we're living through crazy times. When we start seeing it in healthcare, that's when it's going to start to feel even more real for people. Software patches for biology. iOS 9.0, human being 3.0, you know? When we get to that, which I think is going to be the next 25 years or so, people are going to see, oh, okay, it happened in information technology, now it's happening in biology, now it's real.
Nearly 4 billion years ago, the first single-cell organisms emerged from the Earth's hostile early oceans. A far cry from the roughly 37.5 trillion cells in a single human. Homo sapiens evolved from its nearest primate ancestor less than 2 million years ago. Evidence of modern humans only dates back 200,000 years. During this cosmic blink of an eye, every cultural, intellectual, and technological revolution the Earth has ever seen has come, gone, and radically altered the world that once was.
There's a great documentary called Transcend Man that says that we've seen exponential growth in biological evolution before. You know, he talks about how long it took from like the Cambrian explosion to this like other significant era, and that, you know, something took 1 million years, and then it took 100,000 years, and then it took 10,000 years, and so we were seeing the telescopic nature of evolutionary change happening pre-technology and happening post-technology. And so what we're having is evolution itself evolving its own evolvability. The rate of change itself is accelerating.
If human evolution occurred in a cosmic blink of an eye, this is nothing compared to technological evolution. Today, our symbiotic relationship with technology is shaping the future of things to come. And it's not just us who have evolved. Our technology has itself taken giant leaps. The first computers were developed in the mid-1940s. These 30-ton, 1,800-square-foot machines were able to execute roughly 5,000 instructions per second. Today, the cell phones in our pocket are capable of rocketing through 25 billion instructions per second. A little over half a century later, the first computers have become obsolete relics. The evolutionary rate of computers goes beyond anything ever experienced on planet Earth. Moore's Law has successfully predicted that processing speeds will double every 2 years, having a major impact not only on our technology, but also society.
It's a living thing. It's self-organizing. The same way that made single-celled organisms turn into us, these technologies they're almost alive. This is an anti-entropic phenomenon that we're seeing that's being birthed out of biological life, and it's continuing. You know, but this is only the beginning. When we can start messing with our own biology and really transform and create new genres of human, you know, we're going to be more individuated and more unique, and more of us are going to become dynamic works of art. And so it's less consensus and more radical individuation. Human beings are defined by their capacity to redefine their boundaries. Human beings they don't end at the edges of our biological tissue. You know, when we use tools, those tools are appendages, extensions of who we are, and those tools shape our behavior as much as we shape them.
The human species has always strived to improve, to evolve, and survive beyond its natural boundaries. We've shaped our environment to meet our needs and developed more sophisticated techniques to mold bronze, then iron, all on the back of our technological knowledge. And just as we've adapted these tools to modify the world around us, we've sought to modify ourselves.
When we mess with the outside world and our relationship with the outside world changes, we end up messing with our body. Like, we've always had that symbiotic relationship. We invented stone tools 100,000 years ago. Our jaws physically shrank, so we started messing with our body. You know, we started cooking our food, and that meant we didn't have to spend all day eating raw food. So then there was all this time, and that messed with our idle time, and it messed with the activities that we came up with. Then maybe culture kind of emerged out of that space, according to the ideas of some thinkers. So I think that to breathe is to mess with our bodies. And so we might as well be conscious of what we're doing rather than unconscious.
The marriage of biology and technology has already begun to take its first steps in modern times. Our understanding and manipulation of technological capacities is driving us to push past our physical boundaries. Bionics are not only helping those with missing limbs lead a normal everyday life, but it could also help some individuals see again. People like this man, Chris James, who had been totally blind for more than 20 years. In 2012, surgeons implanted a digital chip in the back of his eye, which was just 3 millimeters across and packed with 1,500 pixels, giving him a bionic eye.
When we start seeing the biotech breakthroughs, whether it's the medical tricorder that can diagnose you better than 10 board-certified doctors and it's the size of a smartphone, or whether it's when you can start going in and get therapies that reprogram your genes, when that starts to really change the nature of how we take care of our health, and it becomes like the next thing that we take for granted, it's gonna start feeling real, even more so, because it's gonna be like, wow, like, okay, so now the nature of aging is gonna change, the nature of disease is gonna change, the nature of intervening in these diseases is gonna change. We've already doubled the human lifespan, in a way. Life expectancy has almost doubled, according to Ray Kurzweil. But look, I'm all for it. Aubrey de Grey created SENS, Strategies for Engineered Negligible Senescence. He says that aging is just molecular decay. It's just damage. The body over time gets damaged and it's not able to repair at the same rate that it's getting damaged. But just like you can learn to maintain an old car and keep it running indefinitely, once we're able to molecularly repair the damage at as equal to or faster rate than the decay, you achieve escape velocity.
Today, over half of Americans take prescription drugs for ailments ranging from chronic illness to the common cold. But these broad-spectrum, one-size-fits-all medical treatments will soon be obsolete. Personalized medicine will allow doctors to tailor treatments to every individual's unique battle with evolving diseases, essentially treating illnesses at the molecular level. A recent decade-long study has identified 238 genes that, if shut off, could increase lifespan by 60% longer. And as far-fetched as it sounds, a process known as gene knockout, where genes are disabled in mice, is already utilized in some DNA studies. But how about in humans? The revolutionary tool, CRISPR, is now available to edit the genome of a living cell. This tool allows us to cut and paste DNA to replace faulty genes with healthier ones. Its potential goes beyond anything experienced by mankind, allowing us to control human health at its ultimate source.
And then that buys us a couple of decades until there's all new kinds of ways to maybe download our minds or replace our biological components with stronger non-biological components. Death was a turnover process. It was a way of creating new versions of everything, and hopefully they had mutations that would prove evolutionarily adaptive, and so sweep out the old, try the new out. But the whole point of us reaching an apex where that process is no longer necessary in order for us to mindfully create new adaptations and try them out. That's the whole idea of us decommissioning natural selection. Natural selection was a process by which nature tried things out. But we are nature. So if we figure out a better way that gets to preserve the beauty and dignity of what it is to be sentient, and we have nature itself is deciding, wow, this poetry of having a consciousness is worth protecting, you know, just like we put beautiful things in a museum. These are things worth protecting. We'll still try things out, you know, and maybe if people want to have the experience of having a symbolic death, cathartic experiences where they feel like they die and they live again, we'll be able to simulate all that. But there's no reason to actually lose anyone forever and ever, you know what I mean? That's kind of a tragedy. It's a big tragedy, at least in my opinion. And so I think that right now, we've committed no crime and we're born with a death sentence. That's atrocious, you know. I think we need to remedy that. Because to me, that's the greatest goal we can possibly have. You know, Alan Harrington wrote in The Immortalist, having invented the gods, we can turn into them. You know, Stuart Brand, we are as gods and might as well get good at it. I just feel like, I don't know, man, to sing the songs that orchestrate the universe, like I'm ambitious. Why settle for anything less?